Hello, I'm D1Sam, the Prime Minister, first speaker of the government team. Today's motion is that Koreans should have a draft for military service, and we, the government, strongly support the motion. Ever since the breakout of the Korean War, the necessity for the military service is getting stronger and stronger. And recently, a little conflicts between South and North Korea, such as Cheonam or Yeonpyeong Island case, is making the relationship between two countries further and further. And so, there are the sides that says that we need to reinforce our military power with draft and those who oppose to it. And so today we are going to debate whether there should be a draft or not. Our first argument is that it's necessary for the national security, and it's effective than any other military service. And our second argument is going to be about discipline. Our first argument, it's necessary for the national security, and it's effective. In case of total war, the conscription is the only alternative for our small nations, which includes Korea, to build an in case of total war, the conscription is the only for the small nations, which includes Korea, to build an army credible strength that without having to depend on the alliance. This is particularly the case when the opposing state is significantly larger and stronger, which is now, because with the alliance with China, North Korea's ever stronger than before with atomic bomb, which makes them both larger and stronger. In such case, voluntary force often cannot, and regardless of its quality, stand against the sheer numbers of the opposing force. It can also be seen in the historic record, where Spartans and Persians had a war at the seacoast. It was a war so unbelievable that it was even made into a movie called 300. The reason why this war was so incredible was because there were only 300 Spartan soldiers and hundreds of thousands of Persian soldiers. But even with that little number of soldiers, Spartans kept winning. The reason was in a draft. All the male Spartans were to fight when they reached their 30s, and even the females were learned to fight to protect themselves. That's why we, the Korea, should have a draft also. Should have a mandatory military service also for national security. And our second argument is discipline. Discipline is one of the major benefits of a military draft. The intense military training and drills produce discipline in those who may lack the skill. Draft soldiers will learn they will learn how to awake early in the morning, keep tidy living spaces, and follow those in authority. Young people who are drafted will benefit from learning how to respect military officials and themselves. The physical training in the military teaches men and both women how to discipline their bodies and for better health. And the reason why all this is so important is because the relationship between North and South Korea are getting further and further. And when the war breaks out, we need to cope out ourselves. And for that, we need strength, even for the women's. I'll take Spartan as an example again. As I said, even the women were trained for their discipline. That's why Sparta could keep their country absolutely safe, even with so many conflicts with many other countries. And that's why we, the government, strongly believes that there should be a mandatory, Korea should have a mandatory military service. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Agnes. I am the leader of the opposition and the first speaker of the opposition team. A draft for military service is the compulsory induction of individuals into the armed services. Every man without disorder has to fulfill the military service in Korea. Some celebrities are getting spotlight because some of them do not want to fulfill them and they are trying to evade the law too. The country will need military in order to protect the country and have organized country. However, our team thinks that Korea should not have a draft for military service. Today, I am here to refute the government team's arguments and then provide our team's first two arguments, which are religious beliefs and alternative military service. Then the deputy leader of opposition will talk about the violation of humans' inherent freedom. Now that I've reviewed the arguments, I'll refute their arguments. Their first argument was that it is necessary for national security and is very effective. However, there are other alternative ways, like alternative military service, and I will talk about it in my second argument. And their second argument was that discipline is very necessary to the national security, but discipline don't make people to feel loyalty to the country. They should feel loyalty to the country if they want to protect the country. Therefore, if they don't feel loyalty to the country and it is compulsive so they can't feel loyalty to the country, they will not be able to protect the country with loyalty and belief. Also, they didn't give definition, which is crucial to this debate. We don't know what the motion is talking about because they didn't give definition. So we'll give our one definition. Our definition is that we define a draft for military service as the enforcement by the government of its constitutional right to require all citizens of sufficient age and capacity to enter the military service of the country. It is the procedure by which individuals are chosen for conscription. Now, I will provide our first two arguments. Firstly, it's against some people's religious beliefs. There are many religions in the world, but a draft for military service forces society's people to protect the country. They force people to get tests and perform military service for a certain period of time with laws. It can be against religious and political beliefs. And most of the religions have the rules that they cannot kill the living things. For example, the most famous religion in the world, Christianity, has a rule that restricts people from killing living things in the Bible. Therefore, for some people, the practice of killing living things and human in the military service will go against their beliefs and rules. It can bring about confusion and guilty conscience. It is very important to consider the majority of people and consider about the safety of the nation, but it is also very important to consider the minority of people who will suffer from confusion and guilty conscience. We don't have to bring confusion to their lives. And even if they are a minority of people, they have their own beliefs and principles. We have a freedom to have it, and the country have to respect individuals' beliefs. Secondly, we have alternative military service too. Even if we don't have a draft for the military service, we will have alternative military service. So, for the people who don't want to protect the country, they can fulfill the alternative military service. For example, Taiwan was divided into two countries like us, and they established the alternative military service and reduced the number of the military. Therefore, after that, they could see great advancements in military and advanced human rights. It'll protect the freedom to choose and believe the religion, which is the basic right of human. Also, we will not lose people because they will work harder than other military service. In addition, we can make service person to be a social worker, thus leading to reinforcement of the welfare of the country. In conclusion, our team strongly insists that we should not have a draft for military service because it can go against people's religious beliefs, and we have alternative military service. I wish you can think about it and change your mind positively. Thank you for listening.